Hello, welcome to my first monthly roundup of 2021. This is January, obviously, and there were 3 games given on PS Plus this month. We had Greedfall, Maneater, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and I'm going to start off by talking about Greedfall. Greedfall took up 12.33 gigabytes and it is developed by Spiders. It's an ARPG game, and basically it kind of had middling reviews, I would say. Like, there was no real hype around it, but also I did hear good things too. So I was really happy to hear that this was going to be a PS Plus game. I didn't really know what to expect about what it was going to be about or how it was going to play or anything like that. And I think it would take me a little bit of time to actually get used to how to play it. It felt quite like unique-ish as I was playing. I only really did the combat tutorial and then sort of a bit of the first area, but even then I don't feel like I did a lot, even though I played for 2 hours. I feel like it's a game where you need to put a bit more time into it to actually get to maybe the, not better, but more the bits that you're supposed to get to, if that makes sense. So like the area that we started in was like kind of normal old-fashioned stuff, whereas I know that the next area seems like it's going to have like monsters and stuff like that. So I didn't get to experience any of that, which I feel like is probably half of what the game is about. So that's where my opinions are coming from, someone that didn't get really far enough to get a full grasp of what the game is about. But also, I enjoyed what I played. I think I kept making a comparison to Dragon Age Origins as I was playing it. And I think maybe the reason that I kept thinking of that was because of like, when you're doing combat, you can actually pause in the middle of combat, and it's not the same. Don't get me wrong, it's still different type of combat, but I was getting the vibes of Dragon Age Origins from that. And then another reason that I kept on getting the vibes from that game was because of, you kind of have a party that goes around with you, and again, it's a similar type of thing where I guess the more you play, you're going to meet more people, and then maybe you can switch up who you want to be with you, potentially. But for now, we only really met one person that we could have accompany us. And basically, so we spend the time in the starting area. It's open world, or it feels open world. I mean, this level is open world. And there are quests, there are side quests. There's just this environment that you can go and explore. It is set, I don't know kind of what era, but I was going to say the olden days. That's probably not right. But it was quite eerie going around because there's also some sort of disease going on in the game. And I really actually quite like the atmosphere that they created. But again, I feel like that atmosphere isn't completely going to run over into the rest of the game, because once you finish this place, it seems like you then move on to other places, and it seems like maybe you could also come back as well. But again, I'm gonna say it's like a long enough game that it's very hard to get a full grasp of it in the first 2 hours, which I think isn't a bad thing. I actually think that's quite a good thing. If I didn't have so many games on my plate right now, I feel like I would actually go back to it and jump into it and see what else it's got to offer. But really, all it made me do was kind of want to play Dragon Age Origins, which is obviously more of a fantasy setting, as opposed to this like old-fashioned, still fantasy, but like less so. You know, it's very difficult to explain, but I would definitely be up for playing more, and I'm really glad to have gotten to try it and to have gotten it as a PS Plus game as well, because yeah, I'm not sure I would have bought it. So that's like a game that I feel like I will go back to at some point, although I'll probably start from the beginning to relearn how to do the combat again. Other than that, there wasn't really a lot that felt like stood out to me, and I guess that's kind of why it kind of got the middling reviews. There's nothing that made me go, whoa, or anything like that. But I did enjoy the quests that I did and the side quests that I do. Like, they were fine, but just nothing like that made me hooked, you know? So it's very interesting to try and describe this game and my feelings on it. But what I'll say is, yes, I would like to play more of it, and I'm very happy that it was a PS Plus game. The next PS Plus game of January 2021 is Maneater. It took up 10.71 gigabytes on my PS5 and is developed by Tripwire Interactive. Now, I went into this with a totally open mind. I feel like I've been playing a lot of underwater games lately. I am very underwater positive. Like, I love the sea. I love water. I just love it. I mean, I'm qualified to dive and stuff like that. And I love sea life and just everything like that. So I was a bit like, what is this game going to be like? And I didn't know if it was going to be like a proper game or if it was going to be more of a goat simulator type of game. I just had no idea. And I wasn't prepared for what I went into. I'm going to be honest. So this game, you take control of a shark, a bull shark, I believe. And it's a bit more fleshed out than I thought, actually. There are different areas. There is kind of a story, I guess. There are objectives in different areas. There's collectibles, there's like, I wouldn't know whether to call them side quests, but there's like these objectives where there are like these hunters that want to come and get you, and you've got to try and do things to kind of give yourself a wanted level, basically, to draw them out so that you can then defeat these top hunters. And that seems to be like a part of the game that looks important, but also didn't seem to be the main story. There was also some other things going on, and for me, it kind of felt like, you know, those over the top fishing shows. Like, I haven't really watched them, but it was something that I would never watch. Like, I just don't like them. I don't like fishing. I don't like anything like that. I am very much an animal person, so anything like that upsets me a little bit. And I'm not saying the game upset me, but like, it was just very not at all my vibe, and it kind of annoyed me. I was like, this is the last game that I want to be playing right now, because I don't enjoy this whole vibe that they're going for, but also because I feel like it probably is real. Like, it probably does actually happen like that. So some of the stuff that happened, I was like, oh, like, that's awful, and it just turned me off. I was like, nah, I don't like this. But I guess even before that, I wasn't really enjoying the controls or the gameplay or anything like that either. I was really struggling to control this shark. You had to go around killing people, and then, yeah, you had to try and kill the hunters that were trying to kill you. But the thing is, they were constantly firing whatever they were firing at us. Constantly. So I was mashing the buttons, and I feel like, yeah, maybe if you play it a bit and you get used to the controls, maybe you'll feel like a badass, but I don't think I would. I don't know. I'm pro shark. I like sharks. I don't really like how the media portrays sharks, and my lack of enjoyment hasn't got anything to do with that, don't get me wrong. I'm not like, oh, you should never, you know, shark fear mongering or whatever. Like, that's not what it is. In fact, maybe they're trying even to make the shark like be the hero. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where they're gonna go with that. And I can obviously totally suspend my disbelief on most games and stuff, but I just didn't really like the way the game made me feel, and I didn't like the controls. There wasn't anything that made up for that for me. I didn't really like, I mean, it was quite violent, and like, you would have thought that maybe I would enjoy going around eating people as a shark, but I didn't really enjoy that neither. I don't know why. It just was absolutely not my kind of game, and I think of all of the games on PS Plus, I mean, there's been a few that I didn't like, and there's been a few that I only played for 10 minutes or whatever, and you know, a lot of sports games that I didn't understand. And yet, I think this might be my least favourite one. And I've been doing this for 2 whole years. And I think, just on a personal level, I guess, this is my least favourite PS Plus game that I've played so far. It's not a trophy that I enjoy handing out, but I just have to be honest. It is just not for me. That's all there is to it. If that sounds fun to you, then you should totally play it. I know tons of people have enjoyed playing it. But if you're anything like me, maybe you just want to give this one a miss. So that was Maneater. And then the third game of the month was Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which I'm actually not covering this month. Because Shadow of the Tomb Raider is kind of the third in a trilogy. And I still intend to play the whole trilogy. So last year we got Rise of the Tomb Raider. And I actually did do a video on that. And I thought I'm not going to start Shadow of the Tomb Raider and do a video on it when I haven't even played Tomb Raider or Rise of the Tomb Raider all the way through. So that's kind of the reason I haven't covered that. And also, like, I think it's fair enough. I think you won't get the full experience of a game if you just jump in to the third one of the series, I'm going to say. Just based on things that I've read, a lot of people consider this one to be the weakest one. But what I want to say to that is, like, I kind of take those things with a pinch of salt because I like to go in and have my own experience. And also sometimes when I hear that one is worse than the other, I kind of like that because my expectations go really low. So then anything is better than what I expected. So actually I'm really still looking forward to playing all three of them. But I'm not going to be playing them until I finish playing Uncharted. So I've still got a way to go with that. But I just wanted to kind of explain why I wasn't really covering Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So overall, first month of the year, January, I think it's a strong month. Like, maybe not the best month, but it's definitely not the worst month. I think it's full of those games that maybe you didn't buy, that maybe you're curious about, which I've said before, I think those are the best type of PS Plus games. Because, like, yeah, I wouldn't have bought either of the two games that I played. And, I mean, as much as I didn't enjoy Maneater, at least now I know I don't need to buy it, right? And I now have Greedfall available for whenever I get the time to play it, which is super sweet. And again, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, now I own all of the Tomb Raider games, so as soon as I'm finished Uncharted, I can get straight onto them. So I do think it's a good month. Not great, good. I think that's where it goes on my scale of rating the months. It just always bugs me a little bit when we get not just a sequel, but a sequel of a sequel, like later on in a series. I don't know why, but there's something about it that just always winds me up just a little bit. It may be because I do these videos that's like an intro, and I don't want to do that on a later game in a series, but also just, I don't know, I feel like for this kind of setup, I think it's cool to get the start games of things, and then if you like it, you can then go on to buy a sequel. Do you know what I mean? So I just feel like, personally, I'd rather things be spread out onto different types of games instead of getting 1 month getting one game and then 1 month getting the sequel of it. What if you didn't like the first one? Then getting the sequel feels like a bit of a wasted slot on the PS Plus roster type thing. But it's not the worst. I mean, I can't complain. Thankfully, it's games that I want to play. But I just think about the people who maybe don't like Tomb Raider or don't like Uncharted and keep getting a lot of the sequels. And that's got to suck a little bit. But I mean, also, I didn't like Maneater, so maybe they would like Maneater. So it does go backwards and forwards. But that's just some niggling thoughts that I've got about sequels becoming PS Plus games. I can't do predictions for February because they've just been released. We have got Destruction All Stars, which is releasing on PS Plus for the, like, launching on PS Plus, sorry. And then we also have Control Ultimate Edition for PS4 and PS5. And we have Concrete Genie. These are two games that I have seen, like, they keep cropping up in either my circles that I follow or, like, just whenever I'm looking for recommendations. These two crop up a lot, and I'm really, really excited to see what they're about. I am very hype for February. What a strong lineup I think it's got. So I will see you then to jump into those games and hopefully have a great time. Thanks for listening. Bye.